It started with the sound of my passport tearing. A clean, deliberate rip, not an accident. I was standing in the doorway of my sister's kitchen, the ticket to Italy printed and folded in my hand. She didn't see me at first. She was at the counter, her back turned, her movements too precise for someone checking my travel documents. When she heard me, she froze, the way people do when they realize the silence has witnesses. "Oh," she said, turning, smiling too quickly. "It must have been stuck in the drawer. The paper in her hand hung loose, the photo page ripped clean down the middle. My face stared back in halves. Something inside me went still. Not anger, not yet, just a cold awareness that I was being rewritten into her convenience. She spoke for minutes, apologies, explanations, lies that tripped over each other like broken glass. But all I could hear was the hiss of her voice against the silence I held between us. That night, when she told me I could make it up by staying with the kids while she and her husband went to Amalfi instead, I said yes. My voice was even, calm, but in my head something began to move, slow, sharp, awake. It wasn't the first time she'd done it, just the first time she didn't bother pretending she hadn't. Ever since we were young, she'd treated my plans as drafts for her own. I'd save for something, she'd take it. I'd dream of leaving, she'd make sure I stayed. And each time, our parents called it sisterly love. This time, though, I watched her drive away with her perfect husband, her designer luggage, her laughter fading down the street. And something inside me hardened into intention. 3 days in, her kids started talking, in fragments, the way children do when they don't know what secrets are. They told me about Uncle Liam, how he stayed over when Daddy was gone, how Mommy wore the red dress and locked the door. I didn't ask questions, I didn't react, I just made them mac and cheese and listened. That night, I went through her laptop. She hadn't logged out, she never did. There were messages, hundreds, with someone named Liam, photos, hotel receipts, a conversation that began the day after her wedding. My hands didn't shake. I remember that clearly. I just sat there, breathing in the quiet rot of her perfect life, and thought, "You took Italy from me, but I'll take the world from you." I didn't confront her. I became careful, polite, responsive, predictable. While she posted pictures of sunsets and wine glasses from Amalfi, I was building a quiet map of her lies, her husband's business trips, her girls' nights. The gaps lined up like missing teeth. I printed screenshots, not too many, just enough. I found Liam's profile. He wasn't a stranger. He was our father's former intern. That's when I understood the symmetry, the way her betrayals always found home in our bloodline. I emailed Liam from her account, nothing direct, just enough to suggest she was bored. He took the bait. Within hours, he confessed everything. How she'd promised to leave her husband after the kids, how she'd said she was trapped. I saved it all, dated, labeled, arranged. Every night after the kids were asleep, I'd sit in her dark kitchen, hearing the fridge hum, the quiet ticking of the wall clock. The same house that once made me feel small now felt like a stage, and I was finally writing the script. When she came back, her tan was perfect, her smile even more practiced. She kissed the kids, hugged me like I'd done her a favor. The next morning, I asked her to sit, told her I'd found something. She laughed, a light, condescending sound, until I slid the folder across the table. Screenshots, messages, hotel confirmations. Her wedding band slipped slightly as her fingers twitched. Does it matter?" I said. Her face changed shape. Guilt first, then calculation, then fear. "You can't tell him," she whispered. "Please, I'm not telling him." I let the words hang. She thought I was merciful. That was the most satisfying part. Because I didn't need to tell her husband. I told our father. He didn't shout. He didn't even look surprised. Just quiet disappointment that filled the room like smoke. When she realized what I'd done, she went pale. He sat her down, slid the same folder toward her, page by page. He didn't ask if it was true. He didn't ask why. He just said, "You've become your mother," and walked out. That was it. No fight, no drama. Just a silence that cracked something permanent inside her. Later, I heard him on the phone, changing his will. The next morning, her husband took the kids to his mother's house. She didn't follow. I watched her through the window, still, hollow, finally trapped in the cage she'd built for me. I never went to Italy. The ticket expired in a drawer with the torn passport still inside. But sometimes I open it, trace the rip through my photo, the perfect line that started everything. I thought revenge would feel loud. It didn't. It felt like silence finally answering back. My sister doesn't speak to me anymore. Our father does, quietly, carefully. He never asks why I did it. He doesn't need to. Because in our family, truth doesn't need witnesses, just patience. And I learned something I'll never forget. You don't destroy people by screaming. You destroy them by handing them the mirror and letting them look too long.